Hello, welcome back to Don't Fret Music with Marc. I'm Marc. Hey, so you've got a couple chords under your belt, maybe some good strumming patterns, and maybe you're just kind of getting tired of playing the same simple patterns over and over again. Today, we're going to move beyond the idea of just maybe a happy accident that interrupts your playing and move into a bit more of maybe intentional playing, but just as creative and playful. To hold that spirit of creativity and playfulness, I call it musical doodling, partially because it's fun to say. So I'll walk you through it in just a moment, so grab something if you want, otherwise stay tuned and we'll get going. Okay, so what is musical doodling? Why even call it a word? Why even say a thing? Why not just say play your instrument? Well, it's kind of a great idea. It's kind of like doodling with a pen. And if happy accidents are just wherever the pen goes, on the wall, on your face, across the guitar, it's a notable thing. Instead of getting upset about the mistake, maybe you played totally out of key or something happened you didn't expect. Instead of getting upset, you can look at it and say, oh. So musical doodling might be bringing that scope in just a little bit. And so you're instead of doodling anywhere with the pen, and letting it flow, you're gonna say, I'm gonna focus on this piece of paper. And I'm gonna stay here. So the metaphor of the kind of doodling helps. And so when you think of musical doodling, you're taking all of these things that you can do, which is so ominous. You're saying, my goodness, you could play anything. And you're bringing it down to a piece of paper. And so instead of just saying, I'm just gonna go into this with whatever and see what comes out, you're saying what we would say as a response to maybe prompt number one of what I do, which is like a 2-chord groove. You're gonna say, I'm gonna stick within a small sandbox. So for this, what we'll do is sit right into a 2-chord groove. And for the guitar, I think it's really fun to do G and C. So I'm gonna show you really quick. Here's what G and C kind of look like when I'm playing them. And I'm just gonna focus on these top 3 strings. The guitar has 6 total strings, and if you were to play the whole thing, you could do this, or you could do this. All of those would work. And so follow your prerogative, but for now, I'm just gonna focus on the top few. So if you'll notice that G and C on the guitar, in this position, where we are right here, they're very similar. You just drop it down 1 string or jump up 1 string. The higher one is G, the lower one is C. And you kind of say, okay, I'm gonna doodle around and let things happen between G and C. And you just start playing at first, maybe, and just kind of see what happens, and see if you can repeat a pattern. If nothing's coming to you because you're hearing things that they're just not clicking, start really simple, and just let it be, and find it's like an intro to a place. Just start listening to what you got. Maybe you take your thumb and your index finger kind of to see what that does, just 2 strings. And so between that, you might add a little complexity, some up strokes with your downs. If it's poor, that's okay. You know you're going just to the C at some point. And so between this, what you're doing is releasing a bit of tension on your left hand and really kind of letting your mind focus on your strumming hand, your rhythm hand. And then from there, you find the most expression with your instrument. The thing that connects to the strings on a fretted instrument is the thing that gives it all the emotion. You can bend a string a little bit, but it's really coming from here. The power of everything comes from whatever's strumming the strings. And so you keep this one simple, G and C, and you give yourself some time for this. If you can, give it a solid several minutes. Maybe for 5 minutes. I'm gonna make this sit. And here's some things that you can explore, some tools that you may not have that I love to explore with a rhythm hand. So I'm going to do it without and with a pick for the guitar, and then we'll do some things in similar fashion on the ukulele as well to show. back to our G and our C. You can just go down and up, or something with. You could do that with your fingers or a pick. You can pick a bit, one string. Just pick a couple strings, and you can do that with the pick as well. And so you can explore with all of that, just going down and up. Another thing that you can do is you bring a palm into the bridge of your guitar, which is the big wooden part here. There's a ridge of your hand. You karate chop in there gently, and you roll the gooey, muscly, fleshy part of it over the strings a little. Now you can go, if you go really far, you sound like this. You kind of bring it back. And so you kind of just find a comfortable spot, and you have to play with it. So just kind of, you need to shake it out because you're thinking about it too much. And you can do this. You know, I just play with different sounds. And then from there, the cycle kind of just goes into more. So you've got your palm muting, you can do ups and downs, you can do finger picking, you can do quick beats, you can do long beats. You could grab, so far I've only been picking on these top few strings, you could go for the whole thing and make a big sound that fills the room, and just let it go. The point is, you'll find different things as you just let this play, and you can kind of go slow and fast, and just see how that feels. So just kind of let it be. And so that's just a 2-chord groove, and all of this has come from that. Now, from that, something that I also like to talk about exploring is sort of I call it a one-string story. So you have a 2-chord groove when you're doing some musical doodling, and then pick a one-string story. So you've got your fingers on a string already, it don't matter what one, just pick one. For me, since I'm on the C chord, my middle finger's already on the A string, I'm just gonna pick that. Now what do you do with this? You just kind of go up or down. You're looking for maybe 2 parts or 2 things. I'm going to switch now to my index finger. Yeah, you don't have to stay in any finger. And if you can find two things that you kind of like, you could do, you add it to your little 2-chord groove maybe. Or maybe you just make that a thing. It brings about a lot of musicality and play, and so as you're what ends up happening is your brain ends up seeing notes and sounds up here instead of just like a blank canvas of oh no. So you just start starting to open that up with this, and then with this. And the same is true for both. If you're just doing one note or a whole chord, all of the expression comes from that right hand. And so you find so much in it. It's just this. You don't need to change this much. And that's what that one string story is all about, is sitting with, can you find an emotion? Can you find an emotion with just one string? You're not really worried about what it is. Once you find something you like, try and remember it. And if you want to, that's when you chase down, what was that? Where was I? How do I know how to repeat that maybe? And then what you're doing is you're writing music and you're exploring all these grooves. But this starts with giving yourself permission to be a bit of a freelancer, but you're focusing it a little bit, just a little bit, to give yourself a chance to remember what you can do. So you just pick your 2 favorite chords and you do a 2-chord groove. Maybe you got a strumming pad you like, you just kind of sit it. Just kind of let it be. This is palm muting here. So when I'm hitting my palm down, I bring this pick across. Yeah. And when you do it with a bit of a fourths with the pick coming down. That's when you hear the higher tick as opposed to that. So it's a really nice percussive thing. You can play with that. You can play with the second idea, which is a one-string chord, one-string story. And you just kind of let it go. Maybe it won't sound as good as you want it to over time. But the point is it'll make a sound. And you can go somewhere else. And if you get tired of those two chords, you pick two more. Maybe you go somewhere totally unknown and you just kind of see how it goes. So let's go somewhere totally new. And you just kind of let it be. The guitar allows all of that play. So when you're tired of just your same strumming patterns, or maybe a couple chord progressions that you've been working on, I'd say give yourself a chance to do some musical doodling, see how it feels. I'd love to hear any stories from you in the comments about how this goes. If any of you have a practice of your own that you like, feel free to share that in the comments as well. I have more of this supportive content for you, and if you're a musician or someone who's an aspiring musician, or you have an idea that it would be good for you and you've landed here and you're just not sure, please connect on the website, see what's over there. I'd love to connect with you and support your musical journey. Until next time, I'm Mark. This is Don't Fret.